All right, what's up, y'all? We are back today, and I'm in a different area. I'm in my room because a lot of stuff is going on where I normally film at. So we're gonna go ahead and get on into this review. You already know what we're here for. Episode 3, Bad Boys. Thumbs up the video, drop the comments down below, subscribe if you have not already. Also, go subscribe to Movie Bay. She is like super duper close to 1,000. Go ahead and hit her and check her out as well. But let's go ahead and get on into this. This episode was a little bit better than last week, so I'm happy about that. So let's go. All right. So we get back from the slap box between Chef D and Anthony from last week. And it kind of showed, and I'm glad they showed like the beginning of them fighting again. And then kind of like wrapped it up. Cause like I said last week, it was just a bunch of slap boxing. Like I felt like Chef D just like threw his weight on Anthony, and then Anthony was just like slap boxing his way out of it. And that was it from there around. And it's funny to me because everybody was stating the whole time that Anthony got his ass beat, and I didn't see that. And I'm saying everybody is in like the people on the show, the cast members were saying that, and I didn't see that at all. Like D was not doing, he didn't do nothing but throw his weight on Anthony, and Anthony was slapboxing. So if you want to talk about connecting any type of hand on whoever, I'm giving that to Anthony, truth be told, because he held his own. In my opinion, the only thing that he had walking away was his eyebrow was leaking because he got hit by Chef D's ring. Whatever the case may be, that's what happened there. And like I said, Prince was sitting there talking, and Prince was getting on my nerves this episode too, because he's giving scary the whole time. Like his whole conversations, like his like direct to cameras, his confessionals and stuff, is giving scary to me. Like he don't want no smoke with nobody. And it's just like he's like he's picking on certain people. Not even gonna say picking, because he ain't picking on nobody per se, at least not yet. But he's kind of like going with the grain, wherever the majority of the people don't like. I'm starting to sense that his opinion is starting to sway that way. And he's talking about Anthony got his ass beat. I didn't see that. Y'all let me know if y'all saw it, but I didn't see it. But then Anthony ends up getting removed. He's in another room checking on his eye and whatever. Banga is in there now still checking D, like about still jumping in and saying he still didn't feel that Chef D had a reason to jump in on that fight with Jonathan and Anthony. And I still agree with him. But Chef D started piping back, and Banga was piping back saying like he gonna say what he got to say, and he gonna say what he wants to say. And if you don't like it, then that's your own issue. And I agree with him. And then guess who's trying to jump in on that issue? Lou. And I'm gonna get on him too later on because he was doing something that he literally said later on in the episode that he was trying to get on Banga about, which I'm like, but that's what that happened. So he's trying to jump in again, trying to start some more shit and like going back and forth saying like if it ain't got nothing to do with you, then don't say nothing. Like the irony of you being the one to say that out of everybody, you literally just jumped in on a fight, the first episode that has nothing to do with you, and ended up getting into a fight. You literally got into a fight with somebody about nothing that had anything to do with you the whole time, but you want to sit here and say this about him? Crazy. But Raz was saying that he feels like Anthony should have just come in a little bit more humble since he done got beat up, and they saying it. Well, he did get beat up in that one. I will say that one. Jonathan did beat him up, but saying that they could have squashed it if he would have came in there on some humble energy, and I don't feel like he should have. He shouldn't have to come in there like trying to be calm because he just got jumped. I wouldn't come in there calm if I got jumped. He did more than me. Like I would not have. I would have even had a conversation with him. I would have came in there ready, and that's it. But Banga and Chef, they still going at it back and forth. Carry On and Raspy, they ended up joining Relly because Relly went in there to go check on Anthony. And they saying like maybe the same thing. Maybe the energy that he came in with was the reason why it all started the fight again. And he's saying that hitting with rings, Raspy was saying hitting with rings on is not the move. And I can see where he's coming from, but I mean, if you have rings on, I don't want to say Chef D had intentions behind putting that ring on, but maybe he did. But if you got a ring on and you end up fighting, I mean, it's like in the heat of the moment, nobody's thinking about the ring. So I can't really kill him. Not kill. I can't really ride Chef D about that. But that is what it is in that moment. So while they still having that conversation, Banga and Lou are getting into it. And Lou's trying to fight D's battle yet again. And it's just like, for what? Like, why are you still sitting here piping up for this big grown man with this little boy? Like, you look at Chef D and you look at Banga. He don't need your help. Like, why are you piping in? Lou ends up getting up in Banga's face, starts trying to square up and try and act like he about to do something, and eventually slaps Banga. And he did slap him. He slapped him good to the point where Banga like leapt back. But as soon as he did that, why is Chef D's big ass jumping in, trying to get Banga when security's already trying to pounce on it? He's wobbling and stuff, and then you want to try and get your lick in again. That's the second time that he's literally gotten into a fight, a one-on-one, trying to get a lick in when they're not looking. And it's like, why are you at your big self sitting here trying to sneak somebody who's as little as Banga? And you had every opportunity to get a lick off on him when he was piping up at you, but you decided to do it whenever he's fighting somebody. That's Chef D, not a fan. Lou, not a fan. But Banga and Lou, they went a couple rounds. They went a couple rounds. Banga came leaping across the table at Lou at one point. And there was the third round. The third round, they both were swinging. Nothing was connecting, but I can tell just by the way Banga was swinging. If he actually really pays attention to where he's swinging and actually is aiming where he's going, he can land some damage down there. I can see him literally doing some real damage. But they doing all that. Karrion comes back because Karrion heard the fight while he was in there with Anthony and them, and went in there, and then he came back telling Rails, like, you need to go in there and check on the fight and whatever. So Rails and Raz B, because Raz B wanted to go see what was going on, they get out and go in there and see. Banga goes back for like a fourth round, and he got him on that fourth round. They had him, I guess security, I can't remember if security had Lou, but Banga was getting them shots off on the head. He was getting some headshots, and I was like, okay, get your lick back. Get it back. He got his lick back. Lou ended up getting Banga again because they ended up going another round. Banga slipped, and when he slipped, Lou was getting his licks in. So it's like tit for tat. Truth be told, they both kind of got a couple licks in on each other. But after all that, Lou was trying to squash it with Banga, and Banga's not with it. Like, Banga's still ready to go. He's still hyped up, and that would be me. I'm the type of person, I'm super calm until you piss me off, and then when you piss me off, I'm ready to fight 50 times. And whenever I'm done, I'm ready to go away. I'm not ready to talk to you about it. You got to give me a chance to get myself no longer as hype as I was. Like, give me a chance to calm down. And he was not ready to calm down in that moment. And that would have been me. I'm still ready to fight you at that point. And that's the type of energy that Banga was on. But Raspberry was talking about Banga got his ass beat. I didn't see that. Truth be told, I did not see rank. Like, them rounds that they went into, nobody got their ass beat, if you asking me. Like, neither one of them beat each other's ass. They both got some licks in on each other. I will say that much. But they both did what they needed to do. I wouldn't say, if I'm going to give it, that's the thing though, if I'm going to give it to anybody, I'm going to give it to Banga, truth be told. And that's not any type of favoritism or biased opinion. Like, Banga is probably, besides Orlando, my favorite person on the show right now, because I just like that he stands in what he got to say. He don't back down about it. He gonna talk about it, and then as we see now, he will swing about it too. So I'm gonna give it to him. Y'all tell me who y'all thought won that fight. But then Anthony's friends end up pulling up and banging on the door while they down there having that little confrontation with Banga and Lou. And of course, that then takes everybody's attention away from that, and they all are ready to go outside and see what's up. So Jonathan comes to the door ready. He's the first one, of course. And then everybody ends up getting on high alert because they now feeling like, okay, this is a setup. Anthony probably called his boys to come here. And I don't blame Anthony, because if I got jumped, I'm calling whoever I need to call too. Shoot, because like if y'all going to jump me here, who's to say you're not going to jump me here? And if y'all jumping me here and I ain't got no backup, I'm going to make sure I got some backup the next time. And that's the thing too. Like I've always said, if you jump me, I'm grabbing any and everything, any object. I'm not fighting fair. Like, if you decide that if you have a one-on-one with me and you decide to have multiple people jumping in, all bets are off. If you get, if you get, it's not my problem. Like, that's literally where Anthony was coming from. But they all felt a type of way about it. They all ended up going outside because the crew opened up the doors trying to go outside and figure out what was going on to de-escalate it. Obviously, that was not going to happen when you got all these dudes behind you just ready to go outside. So they go outside. Mo City JB ends up running up on a dude in the car. We'll get on that later on. Banga went upstairs. He's the only one that did not go outside because he's still pissed. He's trying to go upstairs to calm himself down. That would be me. But Chef D is outside talking about he felt unsafe. And it's like, now you feel unsafe because there's dudes out here trying to basically do what you've been doing the whole time, jump. Like, it's multiple dudes here. There's multiple dudes out there. And they know that they friend in here that's pretty much outnumbered besides Rails who and Carry On who don't have no issue with him. So of course they're gonna want to come in here and have his back. And I don't blame them for that. Like when you sit and think about that, they have a reason to be there. But whatever the case may be, they always out there, they all fighting and whatever. Anthony's held up in the room. He ends up realizing that his friends is outside, telling production to just let him leave with them to avoid any escalation. And production's like, nope, don't even do it because we got to let you get out the front door. And they outside by the front door. So the minute you get out there, they're going to leap on you and they're going to try and pounce on you. And it's going to be a bigger situation. I can see what production was doing, but I can see where he's coming from too. Like, what's the point of me still being here if my people outside and these people are going to try and jump me all the rest of the time I'm here? So what's the point? So I see where Anthony was coming from. And that's the thing too. I didn't really care for Anthony last season, but this whole first part of the season, I'm like, I see his viewpoints. I see exactly where he's coming from. But Jonathan out there wilding, trying to get to the friends and whatever, and production's like trying to restrain him the whole time. You know, they got to have like 80 different people with Jonathan. But Anthony's friends end up pulling off and they ended up moving everybody back in the house. Lou's glasses ended up getting broken in the process. They snapped in half. The lens was out. Jonathan then goes upstairs to rest. And then we get Chef D, Raz, and Lou. They're downstairs. And Chef D is still talking about how he feels unsafe about the whole compromise and the location and whatever. And it's like, Chef D, you got all this high power energy for everybody else whenever it's a one-on-one situation, but you feel so unsafe when more people are coming to you. Like when they're meeting you on the same type of energy that you was meeting Anthony on. That I don't understand. It's like, how do you feel unsafe here when there's multiple dudes coming to fight multiple dudes? But you don't see how Anthony wasn't screaming about being unsafe when he was getting jumped. Like, Chef D is just big for no reason. Who said that? Somebody in my comments said that, but he's just big for no reason. Like, as big as that's why I don't have too much of an issue with Jonathan, because Jonathan is big. He knows he's big and he carries himself as his size. Like, he's not the type of person that feels the need to jump all the time. And he gonna handle his one-on-one. If he got an issue with somebody, he gonna swing first and he gonna handle it. Chef D is the complete opposite. But and I forget what Prince had said, but I said Prince is giving scary, like I said the whole time. Like, the whole time in them confessionals, he was giving scary the whole time. But the next thing we get Rails and Anthony. Rails is telling him that his boys ended up leaving and pretty much asked how they found out about the location or whatever. Anthony's saying like they must have followed because they some ride or dies for him. Like, they ride for him hard. So he feels like they probably followed the bus. Who's to know if that's true or not? Who's to know if he tipped them off and told them, look, they done jumped me already. They might try and do it again. And I can't be mad at Anthony for that. Truth be told, I cannot be mad at that. Because you got to prepare yourself. If you just got jumped and you know you're going back to the house with dudes that don't like you, who's to say it's not going to happen again? And if I think it's going to happen again, why would I not? And especially if I'm in my own city, why would I not call my people? Like, that don't make no sense to me. But he ends up escorting Anthony out the back door, like trying to get him out the back door. And Relly gets upset about this and he starts crying. And he's like, it's crazy that his own friend has to be escorted out like this. And I see where you're coming from. But the next thing we get the next day, Mo City JB and Prince, they outside hooping, recapping the night. Rails ends up coming out there with him, recapping the night. Rails was popping some shit about Prince, which was pretty funny. Mo City was talking about how he ran up on that dude because apparently he was popping shit. Whatever the case may be, I didn't see it, I didn't hear it, but that's where Mo City felt the need to go do it, and he did what he did. It is what it is. That's what that was. And then they ended up talking about going to the strip club later on tonight. So the next scene we get is Raz with Jonathan. Raz is up there writing a song. Jonathan comes up and sits down with him, talking about the issue that apparently Raz and Banga had gotten to it. It was off camera. We didn't see it, but they started talking about how Raz was saying that Banga was extra. Raz was saying that he didn't have an issue with Banga, but Banga has all this energy. And he said if he wanted to have an issue, he would have that issue with him. Jonathan ends up saying, like, we need to go get Banga up in here and talk about it like some grown men. So they ended up getting Banga in there. Banga comes in there, Raz trying to like dap him up or whatever, and Banga ain't going for it. And this is why I like Banga. Like, he's not with that. You can tell he ain't with that fake shit. Like, he's not with it. And he said it to him. I'm not with that. Like, Banga was saying too that he was debating on coming in here to beat his ass because he had already been involved in a fight. He said he feels like Raz B kind of like tried to chin check him when the whole debacle with him and Lou had finished. And apparently Banga was already on some high power energy because he just got into a fight. And you know how you are. If you've been in a fight, you already know your adrenaline is pumping the whole time. So you're not going to take everything, and you're not going to be ready to hear what anybody else got to say about you in the moment. You're not ready for that. And I can tell Banga probably was on some high power energy with whoever, like whoever wants to say something to me can get it. And that's how you are in the heat of the moment. That's just really what it is. And apparently Raz B was trying to chin check him. And Raz B ended up saying that he did do that. And Jonathan was backing Banga's claim, saying that he did kind of like talk to him crazy. And Raz B said he will apologize for it because that's the whole point of him being here. He said he's trying to manage his anger and whatever. Jonathan asked Banga if he accepted that apology, and Banga said no. And I respect it. Like, you don't have to accept anything, especially anybody's apology. You don't have to. But Banga then asked about Anthony, and Jonathan was like, you need to worry about Lou since you got beat up 4 times. I still don't see where he got beat up. But Banga was like, yeah, he is worried about getting that leg back because he wants to get his leg back, which he's going to talk about the rest of the episode. But the next scene, we get the 2 people I can't stand the most on the show at all, Chef D and Lou. They sitting there talking about Anthony has been trolling. This is what Chef D is saying, that Anthony's been trolling him the whole time on social media for a whole year about clout, apparently. And this is like, Chef D, where's your claim to clout? Because I've only known of Chef D through Natalie. Like, I see Natalie's Instagram stories, and he ends up being on them most of the time. And then we found out that he's the ex-boyfriend of Santana from the City Girls, I think. So is that your claim to fame? Is that the clout that Anthony's supposedly chasing after? Because you don't have much of that. So I don't really see what the issue is there. But Chef D was talking about how he thought he and Anthony were building a friendship or whatever. And it's just like, where are you getting this from? Because the whole time you've been on the show talking about Anthony, you didn't seem like you wanted to be friends with him. You seemed like you just was a hater from the side. But he's swearing that Anthony got whooped on. Like, that's the theme. Like, they've been saying Anthony got whooped on the whole time. The only time Anthony got whooped on was with Jonathan, if you asking me. But Orlando and Carry On then joined them outside. They asked him about how they felt about it. Orlando was saying like them come to the house and whatever was disrespectful and whatever. Just like the host, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. Chef D then starts talking about how Lou did his big one, which I don't think he did his big one. I disagree. Talking about and Lou sitting there talking about it, all excited, eating it up, like, oh, they thought I did my big one. That's the type of energy that he gave. Like, you can tell Lou is a pick-me. Like, he doing everything because he knows Jonathan is like the top dog on the show. And Chef D is big. So that's my whole mindset when I'm thinking about Lou. I see him thinking, okay, Jonathan's top dog. Chef D is big as fuck. Them two could probably knock me the fuck out. So let me try and stay on their good side. That's the type of energy I'm getting from Lou. And then Orlando being who Orlando is, of course, he's going to want him back at him. Carry On being the son of Kirk Franklin, that's some clout. Like, that's, you talk about clout chaser, that's Lou. That's what I'm getting. Let me know what y'all think about that. Yeah, and then Lou was then talking about too how about Banga talking about you beefing with somebody, you sitting here trying to beef about somebody else's beef, mind your business because it ain't got nothing to do with you. The irony, you are that. That's you talking about yourself. The next thing we get Mo City and Jonathan, they sitting there talking about it. These two, you can tell they got mutual respect for each other. You can tell they cool with each other and they fuck with each other. JB was saying that he felt like Anthony had called them boys up for Jonathan, which I agree. I do feel like that probably did happen. And I don't doubt it, and I don't fault him for it. Jonathan said he ain't got time to keep going back and forth because he already done whooped on Anthony. I respect that because who's going to keep, like, what's the point in continuing to fight a dude that you know you're going to beat? That then turns into bullying. Like, if you want to talk about it, that's what that is. I'm not going to continue to fight somebody that I know I already done beat your ass. Like, what is the point of me continuing to fight you unless you decide to run up on me? That's the only reason why I would, which I respect Jonathan for, like, backing off at this point. JB was talking about how he's not confrontational. If somebody does try it with him, he will get down because he can't get down. I can see that. And I agree with him. But they're ready to go out because they in their city. Both of them are from Houston. So it is what it is. Next scene, Relly is charging his ankle monitor And Anthony ends up calling him, telling them that he's not coming back. Like, he does not have any plans on coming back. And that's his exit. Like, he's no longer on the show. Whatever. Next scene, they get ready to go to the club. You know how Zeus does with their little montages and whatever. So they get on the bus. Rails is then telling them about Anthony not coming back. Jonathan saying it's weird that he's still talking to Anthony. It's just like, why is that weird? He can't have friends that you don't like. Like, you don't own Anthony. You don't own Rails. Like, he don't have to. Just because you don't like somebody don't mean that he doesn't have to like them, and or he has to not like them. Like, what's the point now? I can't stand people that think that way. But whatever. Strippers ended up getting on the bus with them. They ended up getting dances from them. They ended up getting off the bus. Banga's sitting in there while they in the club. Everybody's vibing or whatever. Banga's sitting in there trying to enjoy the night. He is dancing and whatever, but he's still thinking about getting his lick back with with what's his face, Lou. Orlando was cracking me up because he's sitting in the cut because we found out that Orlando is married. I had no idea about that. But he's sitting in the cut because he's like, I love my wife. I'm not trying to get up here with these strippers and get dances and stuff, and I ain't trying to disrespect her on TV. Respectful. Like, Orlando's coming out he's coming out very, very good on the show. Because I was worried. I'm like, I don't want them exploiting him because you already know he's crazy. And I was like, I don't want them exploiting him because that's not good for his mental health and whatever. But he's been acting pretty good so far this season. He's been funny. Like, he's the comedic part of the show, and he's been chilling so far. Hopefully he stays this way. Same with Raz B. But Mo City JB ends up performing. Raz B ended up performing, and they ended up leaving the club. They left the club in one piece. That was the end of the episode. It was a pretty good episode. I wouldn't say it was bad as last week. Definitely was more going on this week, more to talk about. And I felt like it was a better episode. Next week, they end up recapping the strip club night. Banga is still ready to fight Lou. And Rails is trying to tell him to calm down. And he's like, I ain't calming down until I get my lick back. And I feel that. But they ended up going another round. And to me, in that little clip, Banga looked like he was rocking him. So I'm excited to see what that looks like in full. Hopefully he did do his big one. They end up heading to Austin. So they move into the next city now. And it's 3 cities. So this should be hopefully wrapping up in a normal TV show type episodic segment type. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I'm trying to say. And Chef D and Carry On ends up getting into it. I forget what about, but he ends up swinging on somebody. D ends up swinging on somebody. Don't know who it was because he couldn't see. But that's what we got to see next week. I will see y'all. Oh yeah, the baddies teaser, it dropped last week, like after I filmed this, and I was not jumping back on. They probably gonna drop a super trailer tonight. I already feel it. I don't know if I'm gonna jump back on. I might jump back on. But Kat and Tommy, that's the main thing I caught from that. Kat, I'm not counting her out. I don't care what y'all say. Tommy with that wide out swing that she does with her eyes closed, she's missed a couple times, and I'm not doubting that if she does connect it, that ain't gonna phase Kat. You got to win the fight. You can get a lick in, but did you win the fight? That's what I want to see. You fighting Kat. Kat, that's a good matchup. I'm gonna tell you that much. That's a good matchup. You got Philly versus what, ATL? Yeah, I'm ready for that. But drop your comments. Let me know what y'all think about the episode. Let me know what y'all think about the reunion. And like I said, thumbs up the video, drop the comments, follow me on my socials. I'm always there tweeting. I'm always on Twitter. You probably gonna find me more on Twitter than you would on Instagram, but you can hit me there too. And yeah, follow Movie Bay. Almost at 1,000. Get her up. And we're gonna do a collab soon. So yeah, hit her up over there. And I will see y'all next week. Peace.